Hey guys, welcome to the Game Precast, episode 11. My name is Frank. I'm joined by my co-host Mike, and this is our podcast where we talk about all things gaming. Today we got quite a few topics, some new game news, a few showcases coming up. So we'll be diving into that in a little bit. But right now, we'd like to start the show off with talking about what games we've been playing. So Mike, what have been going on with you?
Well, I beat Black Ops 3 on the realistic difficulty with my roommate, and that's if you get shot once, you're dead.
Yeah,
And
fuck
yeah, that
that.
was about as ridiculous as you'd think it'd be.
I believe
Was
you.
it worth it in retrospect? Probably not at
Yeah,
all. I mean, with all the heartache and stress it caused. But hey, it's done. I get to add it to a list of gaming accomplishments. So that was cool. I tried out this game that I had on my Series X for a while, but I just never played. It's called Bright Memory. I think it's this FPS, but it's developed by one guy in China, I believe, and it's not entirely finished yet. I was able to 100% the game in about 90 minutes, but it's a lot of fun gameplay wise. There's a lot of fun mechanics. The shooting's solid, and they give you a lot of special abilities that you can unlock and upgrade. And I mean, it's kind of like a tech demo for what the Series X is capable of. But it's enjoyable. I mean, if you can get it on sale, which is what I got it for like $7.50, it's definitely worth your time. And then in and out throughout the week. Had some buddies of mine convince me to reinstall Rainbow Six Siege and play some multiplayer with them. I still hate the game, honestly, because I know I grew up playing Vegas and
it's
Vegas
nothing
too,
like
and
that.
yeah, and to me this isn't Rainbow Six, it's something else. But I guess it's okay for like, one or three matches late at night when you just want to shoot the shit and break balls with your buddies. It's all right, but I wouldn't get back into it like I used to. I have like 500 hours on this game on PC, so definitely not getting back into it like I used to, but it's a little bit of fun. And then I went to a retro game store on Saturday, and I didn't get anything too retro, but I got a lot of 360 games. And the first one out of those that I played, I replayed a Homefront, and I did that on the hardest difficulty, which I also regret doing because first three missions were pretty easy, and then after that, it just became pretty bullshit, pretty monotonous because it's about on par with like maybe the bullet damage you take in like COD 4 or World at War on veteran. But the difference is the hit reg is abhorrent and terrible and not accurate. Like enemies can shoot you through cover, they can shoot you through your teammates, and just most times your bullets won't hit them, especially when you have to duck in and out of cover real quick because you die so fast. Um, the game itself, I always thought got a bit too much criticism, way more than it deserved back in the day. But you know, picking it up for $5 and replaying it, it was a good time, even if it was kind of rage-inducing at some parts. And then finally, after that, I played a little bit of Homefront: The Revolution, the sequel, which is completely different in not just tone but gameplay as well. Um, it's not my first time playing it. I beat it on PC and I picked back up my Xbox playthrough, which is like an hour and a half in, and it's just so uncompelling. It just can't captivate me anymore. It's pretty boring, and I've just seen all the stuff it has to offer time and time again in so many other different titles. So I don't know if I'll ever get back to that, but it was okay. Oh, and then today hopped back on Black Ops 3 again because me and my buddy are replaying the campaign on veteran without dying for an in-game challenge, and that's going pretty well so far. I think we're about 4 missions in, but other than that, I'm just
Nice.
waiting for Hitman 3 tomorrow. But
Yes.
how about yourself?
See, I feel like for the last like 4 weeks, I've had nothing to add to the intro. Like I'll just be like, "Oh yeah, been playing Cyberpunk." That's it. I beat Cyberpunk. I forget if I talked about that last week. I
A
genuinely
little
don't.
bit, I think.
I don't remember when I beat Cyberpunk. I don't know if I made it for that or if I was just close. I think last week I was in like the final. I was at the point of no return. I think so.
Yeah,
I did
we
beat
were
the
talking
game.
about the mission. I
Yeah.
remember.
So I beat the game. Overall, I mean, I had a lot of visual bugs. I didn't have that many like game breaking bugs. I only had like a few missions that bugged out on me, so it wasn't as bad as what a lot of other people are getting. But there were a ton of visual bugs. But I mean, I don't know. It's like you want a really polished game, and especially when they've been working on it for that long. But I still had a really good experience with the game, and I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for what they're going to do with the DLC. I mean, we know they got free DLC coming, and we're going to talk about this later when we bring up the roadmap. But I'm excited for the DLC. I mean,
I am too. I'm very excited.
yeah.
But
Uh,
I love Cyberpunk. So.
yeah. I started and finished Call of the Sea, which
What's that?
it's on Game Pass. It is, I don't want to call it a walking sim, but it's a walking sim kind of puzzle game. You know the type. I mean,
Yeah, like vanishing of
Ethan
Ethan,
Carter.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like one of
Yeah,
those.
Firewatch, all those kind of games. Got home. Well, big focus on puzzles. There's quite a bit. Overall, the puzzles were pretty fucking hard. Like, I did not think it was gonna be that hard of like a puzzle section of the game, and some of them just got really difficult. Like, there was one where you had to like put star patterns to get these doors open, and that thing was so diff. I legit had to go on my phone. I had to go on an IGN tutorial and do it like step by step because it was so difficult. There's like 4 different things you can move to trigger like 8 other patterns, and if you fuck up once, you have to like redo the whole puzzle. And it was just hard to follow, even with a walkthrough on it. But besides that, the game was pretty good. It was an 3-hour game. It was short but sweet, enjoyable, and it's on Game Pass, so get in at a super cheap price and fun to experience.
And pick up a
Um,
few achievements along the way too.
yeah. On top of that, I started Fallout New Vegas: The Frontier. This is a mod that has been on the works for 7 years now, I think. They've been
Wow.
working on this for a while, and they finally had the release. The launch was so big that it crashed Nexus, which is the mod site
Oh yeah, I'm
for every
familiar
other
with
game on
Nexus.
PC. So that's how big the launch was. It crashed it for multiple hours. Overall, reception's pretty good on it. I unfortunately had a game-breaking bug about an hour into my playthrough, so I have to wait for a fix or something. I mean, it could just be due to a mod that I have, which is a pretty big possibility.
Yeah, it's
Because
likely.
just one mod can just fuck up everything. It's like I just can't load into a certain building that you need to progress into the story. So, I mean, I saw a few other people had the same issue as me, so I'm just waiting for either someone from the Frontier to confirm what's going on, if it's one of their issues or if it's a mod, because I have like 60 mods installed for New Vegas, and the majority of them were compatible because they put out a list for compatible mods. But I'll have to check with that, and if not, I'll have to just go through them one by one and see which one's the one causing the trouble. On top of that, I've had a very busy week with games. Like, I went from just having like one game to talk about for 4 weeks, and now I just got like a list this big.
You're
I
free
played.
now. You're
I
untethered.
know. I started and finished Star Wars Battlefront 2, which I know you're not
Blech.
that big of a fan of it. I
No, I am not.
I mean, I actually had a decent time with it. And now this might just be because I really needed some Star Wars content with all of
Well,
like the
hold on
hype
a
going on
second.
around Star Wars, and we're going to talk
Let's
about it in a little bit. That might be
let's
why.
clarify. This is EA's Battlefront 2.
Yes,
I just want to
not
put
the
that. Not
2005.
not the one with the good
Yeah,
campaign.
yeah, no Clone Wars, none of that. Um, yeah, I mean, I agree what you said to me in private that it's pretty much a fan fiction. Like the fact that you run into every fucking like major character in this trilogy. Like, oh, here's the robot of Emperor Palpatine. Oh, here's Luke Skywalker. Oh, here's Princess Leia. Oh, here's Lando Calrissian. Here's Han Solo.
Han Solo,
Here's
Chewbacca, and
Chewbacca.
then by the
Here's
end,
Maz or
Kylo
whatever
Ren.
her name is. Then Kylo. It's like you run into every single like main character, and it's like, okay, I get it. And there was a lot of content that like could have been in this. Like, I don't know if you remember, but Han Solo's like getting something for freeing the Wookiees on Kashyyyk.
Yeah.
Like you're at the bar and you're getting the information. I thought we were gonna go to Kashyyyk, or I don't know if I'm saying Kashyyyk
Well,
right, but I
yeah,
was.
it's Kashyyyk.
And then they never explored that. Like I thought you were gonna get like, a nice invasion of Kashyyyk
Well,
mission.
in Legends, it's very well explored, but Disney doesn't really give a shit about Legends, so they just
Yeah,
wiped it off the face of canon. But it's there if you want to look into it.
I probably will. But
Sure.
yeah. I mean,
Boba
then
Fett,
they had like a
like,
DLC thing that further explored Hask and added some clarity with her daughter, and then I don't know, man. I mean, I enjoyed my time with it, but it might just be because I really needed some Star Wars in my life. I honestly think that's probably why. And if I went back to it, like after playing something, like if I just played Fallen Order and then went directly to Battlefront 2, I would say, oh wow, this game is not that good
yeah,
because Fallen Order was amazing.
for sure.
Um, I did play a match of the multiplayer, and the multiplayer is a lot of fun.
Oh, I love the multiplayer.
And I
A
had a
completely
blast with
different
it. I
story
messed
from the
around with
campaign.
it very early in its life, and I went back to it, and I was like, oh wow, it's not like microtransaction heavy anymore. It actually makes sense and it works, and it is free on the Epic Games Store right now if you want to get it.
No.
Well, that was
I
just anyone else
refuse to use
listening.
that
I know
platform.
that you don't want to get it, but to anyone else out there who might be interested in either running through the campaign or playing the multiplayer, which is pretty good, you can go check it out.
Multiplayer is a lot of fun, and I'm glad they finally divvied up the eras because it used to be, oh, you could have Anakin Skywalker fight Darth Vader, and you could just have like Palpatine running around with Kylo Ren and Boba Fett, and it made no damn sense. And now they actually, for the main mode that they have in Capital Supremacy, they have it divvied up into Age of Republic, Age of Rebellion, and then Age of Resistance. And I'll tell you guys right now, if you're playing on Xbox, which is where I play, Age of Resistance is dead. You're not really gonna find any sequel trilogy maps because, gonna be honest, no one really cares. You'll get some games on the Battle Crate because that's just a well-designed map, but other than that, that's about it.
No, dude, the Battlefront 2 servers. I was just zoning out there for a second. I was writing something down. If you're talking about the current Battlefront 2 ones and not the old Battlefront 2,
No,
these
I am,
servers.
but
You're talking
I'm
about the current
talking
ones.
about like just Age of Resistance in particular
No,
is
dude,
dead.
legit. Every game mode is like packed with players. It got the whole servers crashed, and then EA upgraded the servers, and then they crashed again. EA upgraded the servers again to higher capacity, and they crashed again. EA upgraded them to another higher capacity. They had to upgrade them 3 times from the amount of new people coming on this game.
Oh,
Because
well, I
I
was
guess
talking
so
about on
many people
Xbox.
and content creators as well just started playing it because of the Epic Game Store being free, and I guess just all the hype around Star Wars in general. It's had a nice resurgence. Sucks that they're not supporting it anymore. I know there were rumors of a Battlefront 3, which we'll talk about later. But the final game I checked out this week. Well, actually, I got to add a little context to this. All right, it was last night, and I'm sitting in my room, and I start downloading a game I got for Christmas, the Dark Pictures anthology, Little Hope, because I missed out on that in October. I got it for Christmas, and I had that downloading. I mean, I enjoyed Man of Medan. It wasn't as good as like Until Dawn or other games similar to that, but I still enjoyed Man of Medan enough to want to check out Little Hope. And I had that installing on my Xbox. And then I kind of remembered something I told Mike a while back. Like I said, I will check out Demon Souls before December ends. And I look at my calendar and I'm like, oh, it's January 18th. So I turned my Xbox off and I started Demon Souls. I defeated the first boss. The game,
Phalanx?
yes, which I'm assuming is the easiest boss in the game, right?
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah. Okay. Um. Yeah. I mean, it took me, I think, 3 or 4 runs to get to that point.
That's not
Um.
bad.
Yeah. I mean, one of the times I died was to the Red Knight or whatever the fuck his name is.
Red-Eyed Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, just walked up to this dude. He fucking just one shots me. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, we're not going that way anymore.
Yeah,
And it
he'll
wasn't even
do
the way you
that.
had to go in the story. Like it was just a random little pathway, and I guess there's like some hidden collectible over there. So I
There's a
regret.
lot of hidden pathways in Demon Souls. If you explore
Yeah, when I
definitely
opened up that first shortcut on that level, like the lever, like you go down the
yeah.
staircase and you go down the lever and you open, and then you knock down the chains. I was like, yeah, so that was like our first like quote unquote checkpoint that I found the entire game. So I was
It's a
like,
sense of relief, isn't it?
it is a sense of relief. And are there shortcuts on like to that like level of like help on every like map set or no?
Not on every level, not on every stage. There are some, shortcuts. Some are definitely more useful than others. Some, archstones or sub archstones, I guess, the sub level. Some don't have checkpoints at
Damn.
all. Or well, not checkpoints, but shortcuts. Like the one after that you're about to do right now,
Yeah,
World 1 2. No shortcut. So
no
that's
shortcuts.
that's a one shot to the boss for
Is the
Tower
boss
Knight.
hard?
Yeah. For first time, yeah, you might get stomped a little bit,
Oh.
but you'll get through it.
You
You
see,
just gotta
that's like the whole
persevere.
thing, like that threw me off Demon Souls, and why I was not like excited for it was like, oh, I'm gonna go play 45 minutes, and then I'm gonna get butt fucked by the boss and have to restart the entire level.
It's
And
part
at
of the
least with like the
process.
first boss fight, like, you have the gate right there, so even if I died in that boss fight, it's like a 10-second walk to get back to it, so you're not losing that much progress.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna be like that in the future. I know. So
Well, the thing is that you can carve like if there even isn't like a shortcut you can take, you can carve your own path, and even if you die over and over again, you'll become more proficient with traveling that path. So
yeah,
it will become quicker to reach a boss gate, just over time with persistence
yeah.
and repetition.
I mean, dude,
I mean,
I felt something last night that I'd never thought I'd want. I was watching Parks and Rec because I was just like, I needed a break, and I wanted to go back to it so bad, but I knew
mhm.
that like I would have to play for like at least an hour to have a chance at like probably beating the second boss. So I was like, no, I'm gonna hold off. Like I actually
Well,
wanted to play it last night. Like again after I beat that first boss. Like I
I'll
was
tell you
actually
what,
enjoying
man.
it, which is
Yeah, well, that is the thing. I mean, because yeah, it will kick you to the curb and then curb stomp you and then smash your head in and then kick you over and then leave you to drain out in the sewer gutter. It will absolutely be brutal and unforgiving to you. However, once you topple your first challenge, in most cases your first boss, I mean, the sense of accomplishment is overwhelming. It's fantastic. You feel like you can do anything with the adrenaline rush that you get after that. And you even though you went through all that strife and pain to get there, you're like, I want to do it again because the challenge is only going to increase. Therefore, the reward and the satisfaction you're going to feel is only going to increase, along with that. And it's just a captivating feeling, and eventually it will become an addicting feeling if you keep at it. I mean, that's how I ended up with like 400 hours in Dark Souls 3, which is my first Souls game.
yeah.
And on top of that, you don't have to do it alone. If you want to co-op it, I am more than down to do
Yeah,
that
I'll
with
probably
you.
be calling you at some point for it.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
no,
there's like a lot
absolutely.
of things that like set you up for failure too. Like if there
Oh,
weren't
of
those little
course.
messages on the ground, like I would have been so screwed at like one part. Like there was a thing that said beware of traps or something like that. I was like, oh, what do you mean traps? And I start going up the staircase. I'm like, holy shit, there's a ball up there that's gonna like fall down on me. And if it wasn't
Yep.
for that, I would have just blindly went up those stairs and just gotten like fucked by that ball.
Yeah,
But
probably. I mean, I don't think you would have died, but you definitely would have lost like half your health bar.
yeah. Well, anyway, there was some big news that was happen. I mean, last week we had the Indiana Jones news, and that was the day we record our podcast on Tuesdays. So
Oh,
we
I have
thought,
something to add to that though.
go ahead.
I heard a little rumor yesterday that Machine Games is looking for a I don't even know what they would call it. I think it was a monetization designer for that Indiana Jones game
I actually
to
saw. I know what you're talking about. I saw
to
that. I remember
implement
Maddie retweeting that.
yeah, and it was like the job description was to implement microtransactions in like a consumer friendly way. And I don't know what the fuck they're thinking, to be honest,
I mean,
because
that could be regarding Wolfenstein 3. I mean, they could have like a multiplayer component to that, and I hope that's the case. And I hope Indie does not need microtransactions anyway.
unless they really want to tarnish the little bit of goodwill they have left, because Machine Games isn't about as much hot water as Bethesda is after
Yeah,
Youngblood came out,
Youngblood.
because that game was a piece of garbage. I don't even know why I have it still, honestly. It's
I
sitting
haven't
on
played
my
it. I
shelf.
have it installed on my computer, and it's
I haven't beaten it. I killed like there's like 3 Oberkommandos is what they're called that you have to kill to get to the final part of the game, and I've killed like one of them. So I'd say I'm about a third through the game, and I have no desire to play it. The main protagonists are so unlikable and annoying and irritating, and the gameplay is just so much more arcadey than even New Colossus. And I don't know, like, the co-op was interesting, and it could provide some fun to just mess around with, but not in a game that terrible. Like, you need to at least have some redeeming quality, and not even the gunplay, which is probably the only good thing about Youngblood, can save that. I don't know. Regardless, if they put microtransactions in the first Indiana Jones games in almost 2 decades,
that'd be
fuck right
disappointing.
off. Just fuck right off, Bethesda. I don't wanna see that at all. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, either and last Tuesday was when the indie game got announced, and we record our podcast today. So we're like, oh wow, perfect. We're getting right on this breaking news. And then the day after it, it's like Star Wars. So this is kind of old news now, but we're still going to report on it because it's technically a new week for the podcast. So it got announced that Massive, which is a studio under Ubisoft, is going to be working on their own Star Wars game. Now, this also confirms what we thought and we were speculating on last week that EA would be losing the license, which they will no longer have exclusivity over, which is a great thing. And we'll talk about that in a bit. But did you like the Division games? Because that's what Massive worked on. They worked on Division 1, Division
Yeah.
2, and then Far Cry 3 before that.
Well, yeah, I remember they started out as a support studio for Far Cry 3, and obviously
Yeah.
Far Cry 3 is one of the best Far Cries, if not objectively the best. I don't think it's my favorite. My favorite's 2. But 3 is definitely a close contender. So they did good work there. And I played the hell out of the first division. I beat it twice and maxed out 2 characters, one on PC, one on Xbox, and I really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, by the time Division 2 came around, I enjoyed what I played of it. I think I got to like level 14, 15, not too far, and this was base game, no pre-expansions. There were no expansions out at this time. And excuse me, I just found that the gameplay wasn't, it wasn't enough of an evolution or even an innovation from the first game to grab my attention. It's basically just the first game with a new map and prettier graphics and visuals. And while that might appeal to some who like looter shooters like that, I need more. I need more to bring me into a whole new game. And I just kind of fell off the Division 2 really early. I've been thinking about getting back into it recently, actually, now that you mention it, but I really don't know if I will because games like that are a massive time sink. However, when it comes to the core structure of those games, I think they're built on solid foundations. And the fact that this Star Wars game that they're developing is going to be story driven, single player, and open world, it might have some multiplayer elements, but I do remember saying it was like single player prioritized. Am I wrong
I
on
know
that?
you are wrong on that. That's not been confirmed yet.
I am on that?
Yeah,
I thought it said story driven, like
it
single
is
player.
story driven, open world, but
Oh,
nothing about whether it's gonna be single player or multiplayer yet.
see, they're very crafty with their
Yeah,
words
you
there
see,
because they
I
say
enjoyed.
story driven, you think single player,
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I enjoyed the Division 2 quite a bit. I played both the Division, the original Division, and Division 2. The Division had really spongy enemies, I felt like. And even though the
Yeah,
Division 2 had some sponge, it was less sponge. So I ended up enjoying it more. Like, I never even finished the first Division. And I know that game got
really.
better as it went on with like the DLCs. And I did want to go back to it, but I never did. The Division 2, I played, base game. I didn't like how they did the DLC with like the world tier stuff. Like, it made you replay some missions, and I just want to get to the new content, like the new locations, and I had to replay through pretty much the main story again, going to all those same missions just with different enemies. Um, but I mean, it's a live service game, so they're gonna do stuff to keep the people who actually play the game year round busy. Um, yeah, I felt like they did a good job with the DLC on that. The all the DLC, well, the quote unquote like actual smaller DLCs were all free. The expansion was paid. I did buy the expansion. It was good. I enjoyed it. Um, yeah, I mean, overall, I liked the Division 2 as a game. I'm interested how they can translate it to Star Wars. I instantly think to like doing something with a bounty hunter. I think that makes the most sense. Um,
Either
because
that
just
or a
with
Grey
all like the
Jedi.
loot and you can get from like different characters, I
I don't
think.
want it to be a looter shooter. I think that would be a great misallocation of funds and just people's time, to be
Yeah,
honest. I
I
think
don't know.
we have
I mean,
enough looter shooters.
I definitely don't expect it to be anything with the Jedi as like your playable character at the very
There's
least.
gonna be a Jedi in the game.
Oh yeah, I
I
think there'll be one in the game, but I don't think you'll play as any Jedi. I think you'll be more of a bounty hunter or like a stormtrooper or like a rebel or just something.
a smuggler, something
Yeah,
like
that
that.
works. Yeah, I don't know. I'm intrigued by it.
Maybe they'll have multiple classes you can pick from.
Yeah, I think you can see that. I don't think it's gonna be like RPG, like when you think like RPG, like KOTOR or anything like that.
They don't
Um,
have the capabilities or the
yeah,
skills for that. I'm sorry, they just don't.
and I mean it's definitely not gonna be. I saw some people speculating, oh, could it be like an Assassin's Creed game? I'm gonna go. It's like Assassin's Creed style game. I'm definitely gonna say no on that, just because they made a clear point on what engine they're using, and it's the engine that they've only used on the Division games. So I think it will definitely be some sort of shooter game. Um,
Snowdrop, right?
yeah.
Yeah. It's
Um,
gonna have to be with the bullet physics that are kind of ingrained into that engine.
yeah. Now there was a report, Ed from Xbox Era, which is a pretty big podcast and site. He said that he heard that Microsoft has been in the works with LucasArts on something that isn't Indiana Jones. So because the Indiana
KOTOR!
Jones deal was directly with Bethesda. There was no talks to Microsoft because that acquisition hasn't been official yet. So they
It
have been
will.
talking to Microsoft about something. My speculation is this: I think they went to Obsidian. I think they've been. I think Obsidian, because there was rumors about maybe a year ago, early March,
Year and a
February
half
time.
ago, I think.
Yeah, there was rumors about Jason Schreier saying, "Oh, someone's working on KOTOR." Definitely not EA, but someone is. Something's happening. Then, someone else in the industry, Daniel Ahmed, he made a report saying about how the Outer Worlds 2, something that looks like the Outer Worlds 2, is in development from Obsidian. He made it very clear that it was something that looks like it, and that it could change at any time, but something was in pre-production. Now, my theory is that that wasn't the Outer Worlds 2 in development. I think that was KOTOR in development. I think he just saw the space mechanics and all that, and it's KOTOR. That's my guess. Obsidian's working on
Or
KOTOR after Avowed, after a bunch of other stuff, but it's coming.
What if? How about this? What if it was Outer Worlds 2? Because I think that they will make a sequel to that game
I
at
agree.
some point now that they have the backing of Microsoft.
Yeah.
Um, so what if he did see Outer Worlds 2 and then, the KOTOR contract came along. They're like, "Hey, you want an opportunity to make KOTOR 3?
Transition it
Here you
over.
go." And they just say, "Okay, well, we're gonna put Outer Worlds on the back burner. We're gonna start on KOTOR in pre-production, and then when Avowed is done, we're gonna just fully dedicate ourselves to KOTOR, and then they can go back to Outer Worlds 2 pre-production." I don't know. All I
Yeah.
know is that I would want Obsidian to develop a KOTOR 3 or a remake because I think in that Schreier report it said it was going to be a combination of 1 and 2 into a singular game and canonize it to make it official, if I remember that correctly.
Yeah.
And I think that Obsidian are the only ones in the industry at the moment capable of, accomplishing such a task, especially because they made, the Sith Lords KOTOR 2.
Yeah.
And considering BioWare is the only other developer that made a KOTOR game, and they are, well, BioWare isn't BioWare anymore. I'll just leave it at that. I'll be nice. I think that Obsidian would be the only ones capable of, doing something like this. I think they're the only ones that deserve to do something like this to take up the mantle once again. And I don't think that really anyone would buy a KOTOR 3 if it was made by anyone else. I mean, I'm sure it would sell because of the Star Wars name and the Old Republic branding, but I mean, come on, people who are really in the industry or people that, have just been playing games for quite a while, they would expect, any they would expect a subpar game if it came from anyone but Obsidian. Is the point I'm
Well,
trying to.
not necessarily. I mean, there's a
But
very small.
KOTOR
There's a small group of like RPG developers, like really
who
good people. Larian. I mean, and not that they have experience.
developed KOTOR 3. This is KOTOR, like one of the
I know. I
biggest
know
franchises that
it's a
ever
baby.
exist.
We hold it in high regard, but I do think
This
there's
is
other RPG developers who have made good RPGs, like In Exile, for example. They've made incredible
cool,
RPGs.
of course, but
Like
not KOTOR.
I know, but they could do it. They can make the step up. I
I
believe in them. But anyway, since we're talking about Microsoft, we're talking about different studios right now. Uh, Tyler McVicker, who formerly was known as Valve News Network, he was the guy who leaked Half-Life Alyx. He knew about it well in advance. He said the VR was coming. He leaked the name of Half-Life Alyx before its reveal. He came out and he said that he's here in Fallout New Vegas too. Is coming. He said he's no longer going to be reporting on just Valve, so that's why he's no longer Valve News Network, and he's going to other things. And he said he has sources that it is in development. He also was speculating that it's not Obsidian working on it. So if it's not Obsidian and it's not BGS, the only other person who makes sense would be In Exile, and those
yes,
were the original studio head. Brian Fargo was the original Fallout 1 and Fallout 2. That would make the most sense to me.
they're
That
the
they're
only people that could develop New Vegas 2 besides Obsidian, and people wouldn't get mad.
Yeah, I think it has to be them. I know they're working on a steampunk game, so I'm assuming they either have multiple teams going, which would make sense because if they're working on the steampunk game and they have a team working on Wasteland 3, which just finished in like August, that team can easily transition from Wasteland 3 to working on a Fallout game because post-apocalyptic and all that. Um, I mean, if they are, dude, I'm excited because In Exile has made
I mean,
great
yeah, I think
RPGs.
everyone
Um,
would be excited for that. Wow, I didn't even know about that until you just said it.
yeah, I
That's
mean, it leaked last night. I was at 2 a.m. on Reddit, and I'm like, oh, here's something. So, I mean, it'd be cool. I don't know. I'm not gonna get my
it'd
hopes
be
up.
cool.
It would
It
be
would
fucking incredible. I would lose my
it'd be
shit, bro. I
spectacular.
would lose my shit.
Everyone would. I mean, the entire industry would collectively blow a gasket in the best possible way. I just, oh man, the possibilities. I mean, when you first said Obsidian wouldn't be making, it, I was like, oh god, I don't want BGS making it because New Vegas is the best Fallout for a reason because BGS did not
Yeah,
make it.
BGS. They're busy with Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if it can't be Obsidian, because hopefully they're working on KOTOR 3.
Yes,
Hopefully.
dude. Could you just imagine that? Like in a 5-year period, we get KOTOR 3 or like a KOTOR remake or something along those lines, and then we get Fallout New Vegas. It wouldn't be just for anyone listening. It wouldn't be a direct sequel to New Vegas. It would just be a West Coast Fallout game. That's why it wouldn't be like
So
directly in New
maybe like
Vegas. So it would
Seattle.
be like a New Seattle or wherever. Um,
Or, I mean, they could do I always thought, like, in terms of, like, that almost, like, rustic setting, I always thought, like, the natural progression would be, like, a Fallout New Orleans or a Fallout
yeah,
Nashville or something like that, something down south or maybe
yeah. There's a
Midwestern.
lot of places where the lore doesn't have much.
Fallout Austin, do it in Texas, that would
That'd be
probably
cool.
be great. Or Phoenix, Arizona Fallout Phoenix, bro, all
Dude,
these ideas, hire me,
hire him.
come on.
All right, we're gonna shift things away from Fallout and Star Wars and all the hype, and we're gonna move into something even more exciting. Well, not as it can't be anymore. There's
Can't
nothing
be
more
more exciting
exciting
than
than
KOTOR
KOTOR
3 in
or
New
Fallout
Vegas
New
too.
Vegas. But Hitman 3, it has gotten incredible reviews. Incredible. Right now on Metacritic, we're sitting at an 88 after 41 critic reviews. So that's 39 positive and then 2 mixed. And on OpenCritic, it is sitting with an 87 average out of 75 scores. So it has reviewed very well. I thought it was weird how they were just having reviews drop the day before launch because I usually, whenever they try any studio cuts things close, I get worried. I'm like, oh, they're hiding something. They don't want anything massive to break. But great reviews. Everyone's super impressed. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking it's gonna be the best Hitman yet,
I
and
agree.
I'm judging that solely off of the fact that Hitman 2 was the best Hitman game I've played. I mean, just to give everyone some information about my background with the series, I haven't played the original first and second one. I started out with Blood Money, and then I played Absolution, and then I played the reboot, and then the new Hitman 2. So I've played the past four, and honestly, I Blood Money was my favorite at first because of just all the different, assassination methods you could undertake and just the variety of gameplay and freedom of gameplay that that game allowed. Absolution I thought was a step down because it took away that freedom and it was the most linear Hitman game yet. Even though I thought cinematically it was a great improvement over Blood Money. I thought it had a more compelling story just because it, definitely strived for that, but it lost too much of what Hitman was. So it wasn't the ends did not justify the means. And then the reboot happened. I'm like, okay, this is the best Hitman game I've ever played. I mean, everything I loved about Blood Money came back in spectacular fashion with a good story and just unprecedented scale that was, now possible due to the power of the next generation consoles. And then Hitman 2 took all of that, refined it, had better contracts, more gameplay options, and I know you love Hitman 2 as well. That game is the definitive Hitman experience, especially because you can play all of the reboot's levels in 2 and you
And
can
I mean, they're doing
re-review.
that with 3 as well. They're
Yeah,
rebooting all the
exactly.
Hitman 2 levels and all the Hitman. So, I mean, if you're getting this on Epic, I saw that the Hitman 1 stuff is completely free, even if you didn't own the game, and they're working on something. So, if you did own it on 2, on Steam, you can get it. And then on console, it's a lot easier. But, I mean, that's exciting that they're actually put some effort into these maps and they update the graphics and they, added new mechanics and ways to take things down from bringing in new items from Hitman 3 over to that. Um, and I mean, if you're playing Hitman for the first time, you can go in and get a ton of content here with Hitman 3.
Oh,
I
ridiculous
mean,
amounts.
especially if you're playing on PlayStation and you take advantage of VR as well. Like, you can just have so much fun with just all this content and then beat the game, all these different scenarios, all these different ways to accomplish stuff on the first 3 games, and then just go and play all these levels in VR and get a brand new experience with them. Like, come on. That's awesome. But, yeah, I know. I'm excited. Hopefully, my
I
copy
think
comes
it's
tomorrow.
yeah, I mean, I heard it's gonna be a much darker take
Yeah.
on,
And there's an
Asian.
actual like real focus on the story this time. It's a lot more personal, and hopefully it gives a good conclusion
Yeah.
to our
Hitman
favorite
2
agent.
kinda stumbled in that department, and it wasn't IO's fault,
Yeah,
it
it
was
was the
because,
money. They just didn't have
yeah,
the funding.
Square pulled the rug out from under them,
Yeah.
before I think in pre-production, and, yeah, all the cutscenes were kind of like if you ever played Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, just like these comic stills almost of just artwork and then, voice acting over it, but it just wasn't as interesting as the reboot. The reboot had really well done cutscenes. They looked
Yes.
almost photorealistic at the time, and I was really disappointed when that was lacking in Hitman 2 because although the levels were better and the gameplay was better, I just felt like the narrative took a severe hit. So finally, we'll have the gameplay of 2 match up with the cinematic quality of 1 and just have it all around be innovated on because IO actually puts effort into their
Yeah.
sequels. They don't say, okay, we're going to reskin and then put it out. No, they actually add a lot of content. They're a great dev. and I'm very excited to enter the world of assassination once more and finish this trilogy that they started out, and then I'm gonna be very excited to see where they take Hitman after.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited.
I mean, it definitely felt weird for me because I went and played like Hitman 2016, I think, and then
Yeah.
I went right to Hitman 2 after it, and I didn't know about the funding thing because I didn't follow Hitman back when that game was releasing, so I didn't know about any of the development issues with Square like pulling the rug on them. So I went into it and I was like, "Oh, what the fuck happened to these cutscenes?" And then I had to talk to you to find out, and I was, "God damn!" But I mean, I'm excited for Hitman 3. And dude, the James Bond games are going to be in great hands, and that's
Oh
the like,
my
unfortunate
god.
thing. Hitman's going to be on hold for a while, but James Bond, it's just gonna be great, dude. Um, but yeah, you ready to talk about Hogwarts or
Well,
anything
yeah, I
else
mean,
to
I
add
don't
to
got much.
Hitman?
I mean, just I hope it's gonna be great. I
It
mean,
is
I
gonna
don't
be
know.
great. It will be
I
fucking fantastic.
I will say, if anyone at IO is listening, what the hell is
They're
this
not.
8 a.m. release time? I need to get this out there. Every single game either launches at 12 at midnight or maybe like three,
Well, where are
five
they from?
hours earlier. I've seen
Where's
7.
IO from?
I have no idea.
That's
But
probably like a normal time for them because they're from like fucking yeah, they're from Denmark. So 8 a.m. to Denmark. Let's find out. I know that's 2 p.m. in Denmark time. Never mind, I'm
yeah, so
wrong.
that doesn't even make
All right.
sense. All right, so my point still stands. Why the hell are you releasing a game at 8 a.m.? I wanted to not sleep and just play this game all night, but now you're just saying to me, "Oh no, rise and shine. The early bird gets the worm. Get up at 8 a.m. if you want to play our game." Like, you think a hitman wakes up at 8 a.m.
Bro,
to
he
go
wakes
do
up
what
at
he's
2
doing?
a.m.
He goes out at midnight to pop a motherfucker, all right? Like, just release your game at a normal time. I want to play it sooner. That's my little rant over. All
All
right, we
right.
can move on. Just needed to
Let me
get that
just
off
put
my
the
chest.
marker down. So Hogwarts Legacy unfortunately got delayed. I don't know how excited you were for this, but it's now coming in 2022. Jason Schreier also added that this will be the first of many, many 2021 delays.
Oof.
So things are
There
looking
it
dark
is.
for the future. Like a lot of stuff has definitely internally got delayed. Like Ratchet and Clank, I feel like that internally got delayed.
I think
Um,
you're right, although I hope you're not.
Resident Evil Village, I feel like that internally got delayed. We'll find out
Don't even
on Thursday. We're
don't
gonna
even
talk about it in a
put
little
that
bit, so don't even add to it.
don't even put that thought out in
But
the atmosphere. I just don't even express that. I don't want that negative energy going around.
yeah, God
REA.
of War definitely got pushed out of 2021. No way. Horizon's probably the end of the year now. That's probably a fall game. So yeah, I mean, quite a few things. Hogwarts. I mean, I wasn't like over the moon excited for this. I had a feeling it was going to get delayed just based off the gameplay we saw. I felt like there's no way that was coming in 2021. It felt way too soon. Um, so I mean, we'll see more probably in the near future. I would imagine summer. So I mean, not really that the summer's near future. We still got a few months away. But
Yeah, we're about 6 months out.
yeah. Anything else to add to the Hogwarts conversation? I know you're not big on Harry
Well,
Potter.
yeah, I'm a Lord of the Rings guy, you know? I
Yeah, that's
mean, I've
fair.
never read any of the Harry Potter books. I've only ever seen the first movie all the way through, and I liked it. It's just, again, not really my thing. I'm definitely gonna get the game when it comes out because, I mean, the cinematic trailer looked pretty
Yeah.
interesting. I
I
mean,
mean, it looked
y
like Bully in the Hogwarts world.
yeah, I mean, I'm definitely gonna decide, definitively once gameplay is released if I want to get the game or
Yeah.
not. But I mean, it looks interesting, and if they need more time to polish the game, so be it. Again, I'm not that invested in Harry Potter or Hogwarts or all that world of wizardry and whatnot, so it is what it is. I'm just waiting for, games I'm actually really looking forward to get delayed so I can curl up
Like
in a ball.
Resident Evil. All right, we're going to talk about the Resident
What
Evil
did I
showcase
say? What
Thursday.
did I say?
So, Resident Evil has a showcase coming up on Thursday, which is, if you're watching it, the day this came out, 2 days from now. Today is
Are we gonna
Tuesday.
stream that live? Because I know we're gonna.
Potentially. I don't know. We'll see. It's only going to be 20 minutes long, so actually probably not.
Probably not. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Plus, we gotta get on that
it's
pre-order
gonna.
right away.
What I'm imagining is we're gonna see a trailer. Well, we'll see a gameplay segment first. It'll just be like, oh, you're walking, and then something will happen. The big lady who's been all over Twitter. I can't talk. She's been all over Twitter, dude. People have been simping over this lady.
Yeah, that's the profile picture we got too, right? That they gave away.
Yeah, Yeah, people have
Yeah.
been going nuts over this lady. They want to get captured by her. Like, she's gonna be Mr. X.
They
Everyone
want
already
to
know.
get
But she's
captured by
definitely just
her,
gonna
he
pull up
says.
in like the trailer at the end.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
Um,
I'm
not
excited.
the trailer, the gameplay demo, and then I'm
And
sure
that
there'll be a
lines up
trailer right after it, and then I expect a release date.
and that lines up with the first leak, when Village was first
Yeah,
revealed that there would be a witch-type enemy that would cause hallucinations and,
yeah,
like, you would kill her in the beginning, and then, like, she would just
yeah.
follow you in your head for the rest of
Um,
the.
Now, are you excited for? I know you're excited for Village. We've talked about that
Village
constantly
is
on
my
this show.
most anticipated game of this
Are
year,
you
so
interested in the multiplayer thing that they're announcing?
the
For
battle royale thing, I
yeah,
am.
you
I
are.
actually am, because here's the thing, there was a game, and some people would say it's a stretch to call it that, but it is playable in a
Metal Gear.
sense, so I guess it's no, Umbrella Corps.
Oh,
There
okay.
was there was this game called Umbrella Corps, and it was like a multiplayer only Resident Evil game, but the shooting was terrible, the graphics were terrible, there was no story, terrible game. Anyway, there was one kinda cool thing I remember about it. I remember playing this multiplayer match, and it was the village from Resident Evil 4, and just kinda, like, playing against these other players and, like, shooting them off of a rooftop and then, like, seeing them getting devoured by zombies or something like that and then being eliminated from the match until next round, I was like, this is kind of fun. Like, if it was this, if we could just knock each other out and then it'd be permanent deaths, like send them to their death either by a zombie or infect them with a virus or just kill them or whatever it may be, there could be decent, there could be a decent multiplayer mode here. There is potential. And if they don't make it like a huge focus like they did with the RE3 remake and Resistance, I think they should have put more time into developing the actual base game, maybe add the clock tower part in instead of making Resistance.
Yeah,
That probably would have been best. But for this now, as long as they focus mainly on RE8 and have this either come out a few months after or just be on the back burner until after release, whatever it may be, or even if it does come out at the same time, I just hope it's like a B team working on it and they didn't take anyone from the main development team over. Regardless, if they didn't misallocate any resources, if they just had their own independent team to work on this and it doesn't detract anything from Village, I think we could have a potentially enjoyable experience here. I don't think it's going to break any records. I don't think it's going to smash any sales charts. But what I do think is that Resistance was an experiment for this, and it's definitely going to be revealed at this event. I mean, if the leaks are anything to
yeah.
go off of, which
I
have
mean, I
been
think they
fairly
already
accurate.
confirmed that there was like a demo you could sign up for or something.
Yeah, and that's
Um,
definitely what that's for. Because they did the same thing with Resistance. There was a beta you could play.
yeah. I mean, I don't think there'll be anything else beyond that. I know there is like a Revelations 3 kind of game that's like getting focused on for the Switch and it's going to come to other platforms early 2022. And we
I'm
know
so excited for
RE4
Revelations 3.
RE4 remakes coming sometime in 2022.
That might get delayed.
Yeah.
That I wouldn't be surprised if that got
But
delayed.
I don't think we're going to see either of those tomorrow. Or not
Oh,
tomorrow, next Thursday.
We're not seeing RE4 tomorrow. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that right now. That's not
I don't think
happening.
the Revelations either.
No.
Yeah.
I think
I
we're gonna
think we'll
see
see
Village.
that later event. I mean, they have time.
I You know what I think? Here are my predictions. We're definitely gonna see Village. We're gonna get the release date and we're gonna get the pre-order drop for Village. We're gonna get a reveal of the Battle Royale multiplayer and we're gonna have, a beta sign up for that. And then I think we might get like an exclusive clip either from the live action Netflix Resident Evil show or an exclusive clip from the animated Leon and Claire
That
show.
makes
And I
sense.
and I think that would be the entire 20 minutes. Those are my predictions.
That's smart. Okay. I agree. That works. So now we got some other exciting news. Let me just write the timestamp down real quick. Give me 1 second.
And what exciting news would this be?
Oh, give me 1 second. How do I
Because I don't even
always?
know what else has happened this week. I mean, a lot of the stuff you've caught me off guard here with today, especially that New Vegas 2 shit. I was about to call it nonsense, but I really hope it's not nonsense.
Okay. Let's do that. Okay. Um. So a little leak came out 1 day ago. From our boy. I don't know why I called him our boy, but I lost his name. Give me 1 second. Tom Henderson. Very
Our boy, who we don't know who he is, but he's our.
Tom Henderson, he's very well known in the COD and Battlefield community. He said that Battlefield 6 will be heavily influenced by Battlefield 3. It will also be coming to PS4 and Xbox One. It will have large maps up to 128 players. The PS4 and Xbox versions will have graphical downgrades and will only have 32 versus 32 player modes. So they won't have the bigger modes. There's two different studios working on it. So one studio is working on the last gen version, another studio is working on the current gen version.
I guarantee you it's Dice Stockholm and Dice LA.
Makes sense.
Guarantee you that's
And
it.
there is a battle royale mode in development because EA is impressed by Warzone's success, and it will probably be free to play.
Okay. Well, first off, I feel like they've been listening to my comm chatter when I've been playing with my friends in Battlefield 4, because every single time we've hopped on that game recently, I've just said, guys, you know what this game needs? We need 128 players. Like, this is the next evolution of Battlefield. We need 64 versus 64 on massive scale maps, kind of like Arma almost. And everybody
Yeah.
that I've talked to about that idea, they agree. That's the natural progression. Increase the scale. And when you first said that it'd be available for last gen, that kind of concerned me because I don't want it to be held back. But if you're saying it is having limited graphics and it won't have as big of player count and the next gen versions won't be impacted by that, I'm all for it. But
Yeah.
I just remember when Battlefield 4 came out, I got it on PS3.
Oh, dude,
It was one of the
dude.
worst experiences I've ever
Oh my
had on.
god, that was so broken. I remember dude, because I love Battlefield 3, and none of my friends played it, and I hyped them all. I was like, "Yo, you gotta get Battlefield 4. This game's gonna be incredible." And we all get it at launch, and it's just like fucking just a mess, dude. It's just so broken. I remember I went over to my friend's house to play it the day he got it because I didn't have one yet, and they were like, "Oh my god, this is so bad." And I mean,
Especially
I
on the
have high
last gen
hopes.
consoles. I remember playing on PS3, it practically melted.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
When
I love Battlefield 3. I played a decent amount of Battlefield 4 on PC. Battlefield, what was it? Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5, which both came
yeah, it
out.
was
Pretty,
3,
yeah, I
4,
didn't play
1.
either of them a lot. I played Battlefield 1 more than Battlefield 5, which is Battlefield 5. I went through like the campaign, which was good.
That game sucks. No, I
I
disagree.
enjoyed the campaign for a decent amount, but then I played like two multiplayer matches, and I was like, yeah, I had enough. And I never even played like the new DLC maps or anything. So I mean, I'm hoping that Battlefield 6 is good. They need a good Battlefield game because we haven't really had a great Battlefield game in a while.
Since 3.
Yeah,
I mean, and what you want to know what else it needs is a solid campaign.
yeah. I mean,
Because
Battlefield 3's campaign was great. Battlefield 4 had a
Battlefield
pretty
3's
good one.
campaign was fantastic,
Yeah,
and then they were hyping up 4 as the sequel to 3, and the only connection between 3 and 4 is Dima,
yeah,
and he's there for, like, a mission and a half, and then he dies kinda off screen. Um, well, it's not off screen, you're in the
yeah,
gondola or whatever when he but, like, it blacks out,
yeah.
and then he dies, and it's just like, that's your only connection? I don't know. 6 needs to be something special because I'll tell you something, Battlefield has lost a lot of goodwill over the past few years. 1 was great at launch, but it died pretty quickly because they just didn't support it with enough content. The DLC roadmap was just rolled out at such a slow pace that no one really stuck around because they were just playing the same thing over and over and over again. It would be, I think, by the time that Battlefield 1's first expansion came out, Infinite Warfare already had 3 expansions out. And although Battlefield 1, multiplayer wise was a better game than Infinite Warfare, I mean, they were at least able to hold on to their player base with Call of
Yeah.
Duty. Battlefield 1, they
They're
just didn't
really slow on getting
people
content.
encouraged.
Even like
They are.
Battlefront 2, like the new one that just came out recently, they took forever to get content in that game. There's a lot of content that should have gotten in the game that never went in there. And that's
Mhm.
why people stopped playing. That's why they stopped supporting it. And not because it wasn't a good game. I
Well,
mean, right
now
now,
there's
if
a
they
lot of
actually kept up support, like the Mandalorian stuff, they could have been making so much, like adding in Mandalorian characters into the game, Mandalorian maps. Like, dude, I don't know. I just feel like they need to get better on the actual updating part and adding in new content quicker because they just take way too long. And it's like,
yeah. And I've had enough of the war stories. I want an actual
oh,
campaign.
same.
One character, a consistent fire team that you're rolling with, people that you can grow attached to and
Yeah, because
actually
you
have.
finally start getting attached to these people, and then they're like, "Yeah, the story's over. You're moving on to the next
Yeah,
one."
like I remember the Nordlies war story in Battlefield 5 where you
Yeah,
play as the Norwegian resistance fighter and you have to like save her mom or whatever, and I didn't give a shit
yeah,
about the entire thing. Um, you know, and then I played the one where you play as like the British dude. I forget his name in the not the SAS, but it's another special forces detachment like that, but it's more focused on demolition and just raiding airfields. And I forget their name, and I
Yeah,
apologize
I
greatly
remember what you're
because
talking
those
about.
real guys were heroes, and I
Yeah,
apologize greatly that I can't remember the name of their unit. However, that was fun, but I started getting attached to the private or, whoever you played as and his commanding officer, and then it ends, and then
yeah,
their story is done. And I was like, okay, I actually started to feel something. And then with the Terralier war story, where you play as the black French fighters,
yeah,
and you take the chateau, and that was, almost compelling. I was really
yeah,
starting to get into it, because you're trying to prove your unit's worth, but at what cost? Because you're losing so much men with every push that you make, and by the end, you almost die, and your real blood brother sacrifices himself for you to take it. And so you did take the chateau, you did succeed with your unit, but you lost almost everything in the process. And I was like, wow, this is starting to be compelling. This is like this guy's origin story. Where is
dude,
this gonna go next? And then it just
it just
ends.
cuts off. Yeah.
And that's it. Like, I was like, "Come on, man. How are you expecting me to give a shit about any of these characters when I spend such little time with them?"
Now I
They
don't know.
really
Wait, did you play the
like,
ones in Battlefield One?
I did not.
All right,
Started the
dude.
first one,
Battlefield
and
One, they had some really good. I felt all the war stories were better in Battlefield One. There was a really good one where you played as like this Australian dude, and I don't want to spoil that for you
the
because you
runner,
need.
I think that's called, right?
Yeah, the runner. Yes, that one
Yeah.
was just fucking epic, bro. Just the
I
way it
My
ends.
roommate said the same thing. Wanted to do it in order, so I did the tank one, and I just got so
Oh yeah, the
bored.
tank one sucked.
Yeah.
But
So
you
maybe
need to
I'll
go check
skip
out the
that.
runner, definitely.
Yeah, I'll skip
I
the
know you've
tank
been
one.
replaying a ton of old shooters. That's one you got to go
Yeah.
back to.
Okay,
Not
I'll
not that
keep.
they're old, but
Well, it
um,
is
yeah,
relatively. It's
it's getting there.
almost 5 years old this year, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah. Um, in other news, Cyberpunk 2077 roadmap. Give me 1 second. Okay. So yeah, they put this out earlier last week.
With the apology video.
Yeah, apology to which we're not going to dive into. I think
Yeah,
enough people
I
have.
haven't I haven't even watched it because I was just
Yeah,
like,
it's very fake. And then they had another thing about like how that demo, because you know the Jason Schreier piece that came out a little bit after it. Well, they pushed that video because they knew Jason Schreier had that article coming out. Like, he contacted them asking questions, like let him know that it's coming out, and then they pushed for it like the same time he's publishing this article. But anyway, supposedly like the demo that they had wasn't even like a real like gameplay. Like they made that
I
demo
saw that.
completely so then I'd have no issues.
That's
Like,
like an
and they
anthem.
wasted development time on that, like months for perfecting that. But anyway, I don't even want to dive into that because we have talked enough shit about Cyberpunk recently. Roadmap. So yeah, things got delayed. Free DLCs got pushed back. The free next gen console update isn't even coming till really late in the year.
And expansions probably, I mean, by
Yeah,
the looks of this
expansions are in
roadmap, they're not even
2022 at the earliest now.
yeah, they don't even specify. They didn't say anything,
Yeah,
so I
it's not
assume
even on the roadmap.
2022,
It's off the map. So
which is unfortunate. So I hope New Game Plus is one of the first things they add with these free DLCs.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, we got these two patches coming out in, the one in January and the one in February, and then after that we can start looking towards free DLC. I mean, The Witcher 3 had great free DLC, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed on this free DLC. But then again, this has been more of a letdown. So I don't know. Anything else to add to that, or you ready to go to
Well,
the
I
final topic?
Well, I think we're gonna get, a lot of similar things like Witcher 3. I think we'll get maybe 1, 2, or 3
Like actual
unique,
missions.
yeah, that they're gonna add in, probably some alternative outfits for probably not yourself, maybe
Yeah,
like 1 or 2.
a few
Um,
weapons probably.
I don't know about weapons, but probably cars,
Makes
alternative
sense.
outfits for like Judy, Pan Am, maybe even Saul, just like reoccurring main characters. Just a lot of vanity stuff, maybe some quests, but I think we're gonna get, same deal with Witcher 3 and hopefully a new game plus
I
mode.
mean, and I think also some cut content will maybe get. Maybe.
M-
I mean, there was a lot of cut content in this game that just didn't make it in time, and hopefully they'll add some in. But
I think if they really were smart about it, the first piece of free DLC they would drop post patches, obviously, would be New Game Plus. Because if you're delaying, the expansions, the main reason for people to come back to an RPG, let them go back on their save file where they have everything maxed out. And by people, I mean me. Let me go back on my save file. Let me replay everything now that I have all my skills maxed out. Now that I have all the guns that I want fully upgraded. Now that I'm the powerhouse that I wanted to be, that the trailers said I could be, let
yeah,
me replay through the game again. I mean, that's how you're gonna bring people back in while you have no expansions. That's it. Besides making new characters, but a lot of people don't want to start from scratch again. They want to use what they worked so hard to earn and just wipe the floor with everything. I know I want to.
Yeah, makes sense. They need some good updates to come out. They can't have like broken updates coming out because they have like updates coming out. And they're like, oh, here's some free content, and then like free content's broken.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
No, they got to roll out the patches first and foremost before they do anything
Yeah,
else.
we got some time. So yeah, our final topic of the day. Let me just write a timestamp real quick. Okay. Um, Naughty Dog, one of their concept artists, not con, I don't know, one of their artists, one of the senior artists. I'm gonna butcher this dude's name or female. I don't know. Hayang Nam,
Dude
maybe.
is a gender neutral term.
Hayang Nam. We're gonna go with it's a dude. Senior concept artist at Naughty Dog. He put out some concept art 2 months ago actually. And he had the caption, "Inspiration from our new game, from a new game. You know what I'm talking about, Winky Face." So I'm assuming he had to get the okay from Naughty Dog to put this out, or his job would be at risk. But it looks like they had concept art with something medieval, something. I don't know. It looks cool. Looks like some sort of dragon or something. But I don't know. What are you thinking?
You don't want to hear from me,
I
Matt.
know I don't.
You can say what you
All
want to
right.
say.
It looks interesting. I know a lot of bad memories are brought up from hearing Naughty Dog. Um, I think they'll redeem themselves with their next game. I really do. I don't think there's either two things that can happen here, or three things. They could double down and they can go like, "Oh, we're gonna piss off the people that got pissed off over The Last of Us." They could do that, and they could double down there and really just go nuts. They can go play it in the middle and do a little bit of both, or they could have a really redeeming, really good, strong narrative game that's up there with the quality. Well, not up there. It's never gonna be Last of Us, the original Last of Us, but something that actually has a good story, a proper vision, and something that will be well received by majority of their fan base rather than having a split down the middle. Um, but yeah, that is it, Mike. If you don't want to add anything else,
Look, man, I'm not buying another Naughty Dog game ever in my life, so anything I have to say is irrelevant. You put it very eloquently, very well, very respectable, and I could not do that. So, yeah, we'll just leave it off there. Just know whatever this turns out to be, I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole because I can smell it from here already.
we all know that's a lie, Mike.
No, it's
We
not.
all know
I
it's a lie.
I have Uncharted's 1 through 4 and the first Last of Us and Jack and Daxter 1 and 2. And that is all I need, Frank. That's all I need. I don't need anything else from them. They're dead to me. That's all I have to say about it.
Dude, I'm gonna just clip this. 2 years from now, 3 years from
Clip it
now,
all you
whenever.
want. Clip it all you want.
I will just
Go
re-upload this exact clip, and then I'll put like a cut in the video showing you how like you're like, oh my god, I'm so excited for this game. I think they can redeem themselves.
be my guest because those words will never come out of my mouth.
I truly believe it will.
Okay. We can
We
agree to
well, only
disagree.
time can tell, though. Only time can tell.
Or I can tell you right now, but you're just choosing not to listen.
Or Naughty Dog just like completely falls off
Just
the earth. Their whole
I mean,
studio,
yeah,
Neil Druckmann becomes a I don't know,
I mean, it's
traveling.
mostly contractors there, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because
yeah, I mean
they
it
just
is.
alienated everybody who worked there because everyone quit because it was just a terrible working environment.
That is possible.
Well,
And
there you
then
go.
one more thing, I just want to wrap it back around to something I had in my notes and I forgot to bring it up somehow. Back with Star Wars, I know we talked about this on the side that it looks like EA is doing something with the Battlefront license again. I mean, we don't really know. Um, sorry, writing down the timestamp. I always forget to do this before bringing up my point, and then I'm like mid
No,
thought.
that's all right. Are
um,
you talking about the actors
yeah,
who were spotted doing mocap?
yeah, because it was the Admiral, Iden, and Dell, I think, and
Like Admiral
her
Sloan
dad,
or
whoever her dad
her
is.
dad? Well, her dad croaked.
Yeah, and so did
Yeah.
Dell in the DLC.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that
no, he
makes.
not even in the DLC. He
Oh
just
yeah, it
dies
was.
at the end
Yeah, it
of the game.
wasn't. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think then if it is them, this is either going to be like some sort of flashback. But Aiden also dies. All
Yeah,
three of
Iden
these people
dies
are
at
dead.
the end of the
So that's the
DLC.
thing that
Yeah.
didn't make sense to me. When I heard characters were it, I was like, all right, it's going to be a flashback. She's going to be looking back at time with her dad and her mom, that one character. Her Aiden's daughter. I forget her name. She had a name.
Yeah,
I swear.
who I
Fly.
do not give a shit
She was just. I
about.
thought it would be just Dell and Aiden, and you'd be seeing flashbacks of them like raising the child, and then it may be a focus on her with the new Inferno Squad during like the Resistance timeline. But that doesn't even make any sense because if her grandpa is in the game, she never met her grandpa. So
Yeah, her
then that
grandpa
makes me
went
think
down with his ship.
that this has to be some sort of flashback, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I like
I mean, it would
well,
have to
like,
be while they're all still Imperial. Wait, now
or maybe
hold on.
like
Let me
reading a
ask you
book or
this:
something. I
Is
don't
it mocap or is it like they were caught on film, or is it
mocap.
specifically mocap? Okay, so that rules out like their characters branching out to any
I
other
mean,
sort of
here's my only theory: is that this is like a prequel to their story, and it's like taking place during A New Hope
and
and Empire
they're
Strikes
actually
Back,
Empire.
and they're actually Empire for the entire game, and then the game ends when Aiden is getting captured, which is like the start of the story. It's either that or this is like I don't know.
That no,
That's
that would
like
be it, Frank. That's it.
that's
Like
the only thing
the
that can really
said
make
right
sense.
there.
Like they could do like something. If it, I don't think it's Battlefront 3. I think this is gonna be
I
something like
hope
on
to
the
God
squad.
it's not.
Like, I'm thinking they're just gonna call this like Inferno Squad, and that's gonna be it.
Maybe it's like a CG movie, like a
Maybe
tie-in movie.
or like an
Listen, man,
anime.
I look, I don't want a sequel to Battlefront 2's story. It was
Yeah.
bad. I mean, look,
Um. I
Mitch
agree.
Dyer should stick to writing reviews, not storylines. I'm sorry. You
Yeah.
don't know Star Wars. You don't know, the intricacies of the lore because every time you want to pay any bit of fan service, you just throw in a major main character without any rhyme or reason as to them being in there with no basis. I mean, you throw in little quotes like you said, like, "Oh, Han going to free the Wookiees on Kashyyyk," but you never capitalize on that. You never follow up on that. It's just hollow words, hollow storytelling.
The
It
other
doesn't ever
theory
amount to
that I
anything.
have
Hold on, I need to
is
get this off my
go
chest
just
real
go for it.
quick. It's just the story was not quality. I mean, you have these new characters that are, oh, cool. You finally get to play as the Empire, a little bit of a Republic Commando feeling, but we're dark side now. And then for 3 missions in, oh, we're good now. We see the terrible ways, we see the terrible atrocities we committed, and how it's wrong to commit genocide. We see that now. And we don't want to do it anymore. We want to join the rebellion. Like, cool. Time you grew a conscience, I guess. I don't know why you didn't see it before, only when they affect your home world. It's like, oh, this planet's loyal to the Empire. So, I don't understand why we're doing this to them. Alderaan was loyal to the Empire. What? And you blew them up. Like, yeah, the government, Bail Organa, was plotting a rebellion, but the people had no idea for the most part. In Rogue One, they even show, like, no, they're just going to start to amass an army. They're going to get this together. Those people were still loyal to the Emperor, and they were annihilated in under a millisecond.
Yeah.
And now you're telling me when they start firebombing your homeworld, you're like, oh, these people might be bad. Just maybe. Like, get out of here. And again, with the hollow fan service and just the plot is not compelling at all. Like, I don't care. I don't care about these people. They're not even interesting. The actors do a fine job with what they're given, but what they're given doesn't, make it doesn't push them to anywhere. It's just so cliche, it's so generic, and the game ends with like, "Oh, the fall of the Empire, the Battle of Jakku," and it's nothing compared to the Battle of Endor and ROTJ.
Yeah.
It's nothing. And it's not even that much fun because you fly in your X-wing, you shoot down like maybe 4 TIE fighters, and then you land in another spot. Gun down Imperials, take off, fly to another spot, rinse and repeat until you finally get to go to your dad's cruiser and you actually fly close to it and you would think, oh, this is the fun part, but it's not. It's a cutscene. And then you crash and then you clear out the Star Destroyer and then, the game ends with
Yeah.
you playing as Kylo Ren for some reason. And
Did you play
then
the DLC?
yeah, and then you
Yeah.
kill Dell and then you sequel bait, but then you probably got denied a sequel, so then you made the DLC. which brought over one character from the main campaign, Aiden's daughter, who was honestly just very generic and
Yeah.
just kind of like a clone of Aiden almost. It felt weird, like there's no differentiation between their personalities. Like, I'm glad it was free, got some achievements out of
Yeah.
it, but it's fan fiction. What do you want from me? It's fan fiction, and it doesn't deserve a follow-up unless someone else is writing it and can do justice to these characters and actually make them worthwhile to listen to and play as. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
To anyone watching, this is why I tried to stop the rant from happening earlier, because I've heard the rant multiple times. But yeah, I do agree with you with the majority of what you said. But since we were talking about war stories, I mean, the only other thing that could make sense is if this is like a war story situation where maybe you play like one mission as like early day Aiden and Dell and all of them on doing like a mission during A New Hope, and then you switch to something like maybe before that you're doing stuff in the Clone Wars, then maybe after that you're doing something with the Resistance era, and they do like different like
Or
a war story thing.
or they just are finally making Imperial Commando and these characters have a cameo.
That would work, and that would be more exciting.
That would definitely be more
Because
exciting.
I don't
Bring
think it's
back
Battlefront 3 yet, dude. I don't think EA is making Battlefront 3.
they
Like I think because
I don't
they
know.
really, it seems like, at least Dice, it seems like Dice really just want to get their people on Battlefield, and they didn't really want to put the additional effort on it. They wanted to make their focus Battlefield 6
Well,
and
that
not.
wasn't the decision of the Battlefront 2 team.
Yeah.
That was management saying, "Okay, you guys are done.
Well, yeah,
Time
that
to
was
move
Dice
on."
management taking the team off. So it doesn't really seem like Dice cares about Battlefront enough to be like, oh yeah, we want to put resources now towards 3 when Battlefield is in its crunch area where they're trying to get it ready for 2021. And they need all hands on deck because that game's at risk of getting delayed. And it doesn't seem like now they'd be like, oh yeah, let's put resources towards Battlefront 3 when we just threw it off. Like, I don't think that if it's Dice working on it, if it is a Battlefront game in development. But
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the people that were working on Battlefront 2, I forget the creative director's last name. His first name's Dennis, though. They were really passionate about the project, especially that creative director. I mean, they pumped content out even after the game was abandoned and desolate after that microtransaction fiasco. And they genuinely cared and they made it a better game. And like you said, you hop on the multiplayer now, it's good. It's not even good. It's great. It's a lot of
yeah,
fun. I mean, it's nowhere near the originals, level. I mean, because
yeah,
they're not pandemic and they'll never be pandemic studios. But you know, if for what modern gaming usually brings around, this was good. And I think that they could make a Battlefront 3. I think that they would be good for it. I think that they would take a lot more development time. At least I hope they would. Everything that came into Battlefront 2 after should be in Battlefront 3 at the beginning. It should have a story that either spans multiple eras or is in a different one because honestly, we need more Clone Wars content. We need more prequel content because that's a very large portion of your fan base, Disney,
yes.
EA. Very large, probably the largest right now because we're all becoming adults. I you know you need to just make good Star Wars content. Don't make what you think people want. Make what they actually want. It's simple. It's
Now,
really really simple.
does it? I don't remember when motion cap gets like recorded. Is mocap towards the end of development, or does it happen really early in development? I'm trying to remember.
I have no idea. I mean, I feel like it'd be different for every development studio. I
Yeah,
feel like everybody has their own process in the way that they do things. I would imagine it would be on the former half, not the latter half of development, though.
yeah,
But again, I'm not a game developer. I don't know these things.
yeah,
I'm not a mocap director either. I have no idea.
yeah.
I can only assume.
I don't know. I mean, I'm intrigued, but multiplayer is fun on Battlefront 2. So I mean, I wouldn't mind Battlefront 3, but I still think they should have just supported Battlefront 2 longer.
Yeah, I agree with that
I
completely.
mean, you have all this new content coming out, and it seems like the time when you'd want to be supporting a Battlefront game because now you have like people watching The
Mandalorian,
Mandalorian getting excited about Star
Hogwarts
Wars and then being
Season
like, oh,
7.
I want to play exactly what happened with The Witcher. I mean, if you remember that Witcher 3 after the Netflix show happened, everyone flocked to The Witcher because they needed more after that show ended.
It's not
and
just Mandalorian either. I mean, they have the
all
Clone
these
Wars
new
season
shows coming.
7 that just came out. They have Bad Batch that's coming really soon. They have the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. I mean, there are a lot of different things that they could have still
I mean,
done.
they have like 10 shows happening in the next like 2.5 years.
Yeah, the Lando show, and now they have a Rogue Squadron movie coming, which is probably
The
not gonna
High
be a good
Republic show.
no, we don't talk about the High Republic here at the game preview. We don't talk about it. It's not real, it's not canon, and it's gonna bomb and fail, and no one cares.
I mean, when the KOTOR game
Sorry.
comes out, I'm sure you can add some multiplayer content into that, into Battlefront. Like,
No.
there was just so many
Oh, okay.
possibilities
I
here.
thought you were gonna say add a multiplayer component onto KOTOR.
No, no, never. No, never. On to
I was
Battlefront.
about to call the
But,
church on you.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of just different stuff they could have done. So, them cutting Battlefront 2, like, right before that starts to happen, especially because they relaunched the game. Like, they had that special edition come out, the Legendary Edition, that gave you
The
all the
Celebration
cosmetics.
edition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Celebration Edition. And they really started like seeing like, oh wow, it's made a complete turnaround. This is a brand new game. And they're like, yeah, we're done. No more development. And I'm like, what? People finally just bought into your game because it was like the finished, like actual what they advertise, and there's not like scummy microtransactions in it anymore. Progression systems actually make sense. There's a decent amount of content, and then they're like, yeah, no, we're done. Like, I don't know.
No, I know what you mean. I actually bought the Celebration edition when it came out because I had a discount because I already had the game and I had EA access. This was before EA Play, and it was actually cheaper to get it that way than to like buy all the skins if I wanted to. And I was like, you
Yeah,
know what? They have made such a turnaround. They have done such a good job. I will give them like the 23 or 24 bucks or whatever it was. And I picked it up and I was like, you know, if this is going to further the development of the game, you know, so be it. And then like you said, they just stopped. I was like, all right, you have like a really solid foundation now. You have a lot of content, you have a lot of good stuff here. Why stop when you're just getting, started?
I
In a
agree.
sense. So hopefully, if there is a Battlefront 3, it will be like an Overwatch 2 type situation where they'll bring all your progression, all the maps, all the characters from the first game into the second game and just kind of mesh it into one. That's what I'm hoping that they'll do if
That
they
would
make a third.
that would be smart if they did it, but
Especially since, they developed all these assets, a lot of the Clone Wars stuff too, like
yeah,
Anakin and
like
Obi-Wan, all these
I don't
heroes after the
understand,
game already launched.
dude.
So, it would be all that work post-launch for nothing if they don't bring it into the
Yeah.
third game.
Like there is maps in like Battlefront 1 that they should have just ported over to Battlefront 2 when that came out. Like it makes no
Yeah, like
sense.
Cloud City.
Yeah, like the Cloud City one, there was one on Solisk, I think, the volcano
Yeah,
one.
Death
Like they
Star
could
as well.
I think they did have a Death Star one in Battlefront 2.
Not
I
in
think.
space.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I do actually remember what you're talking about now. Like there was so much stuff that they could have like added and just ported over and just like update it, give a nice little graphic upgrade, and then that's it. That's all you need to do. And because it's not like they had like a crazy amount of content in these games, especially at launch, and it just didn't make sense why you wouldn't port it over. Like give it the fucking Call of Duty treatment, where you just port in the old stuff to get the additional content. And I mean,
Or Hitman, like we were just
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
exactly. Anyway, I've spoke my piece on it.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be that difficult. You mean it's the same engine, same assets. You just up-res them, make them look nice, and there you go. Maybe refine the mechanics a little bit, have it fit in with whatever you make 3, play like, and that's that. You would be a fool to do anything else
Yeah,
if they even get to make a Battlefront 3.
yeah, we have no idea what's
Honestly,
happening.
I don't know what other developer, I'm sorry, what I would rather have take up the mantle over DICE because obviously I want Pandemic to make the games, but they're not around anymore because
Yeah.
that was one of the first victims of EA, shuttering studios that are way more talented than they could ever be. I always feel like they do these things out of jealousy, first with Pandemic, then with
Oh god,
Visceral,
here we
but
go. Here's another
whatever.
rant, guys. I gotta go.
No, no, I cut it off before it started. But with Pandemic gone and EA not having exclusive rights anymore, if they don't make Battlefront, I'm kind of scared as to who will because I don't want someone like Activision or Take-Two getting that license
Yeah,
because they
yeah,
will monetize the hell out of it,
yeah. I
way
agree.
more than EA did.
100% agree. Well, on that note, we got to go play Hitman 3 in a little bit. I mean, we're only a few hours
Oh,
away. If you're watching this, go check it out. It's going to be fucking amazing.
it's gonna be
Uh,
fantastic.
remember a Resident Evil show on Thursday. Go watch that. If you're watching this right now, it might be
Don't
happening
take our
as you're
pre-orders.
watching this. Go watch it. And make sure to come on next Tuesday because we'll have exciting new stuff on the Game Precast, episode 12, because we'll be talking about the Resident Evil show. We'll be talking about our personal opinions on Hitman. We'll be talking about our hype for the medium, which will be coming like 2 days after that episode goes
And
live. So there'll be a
whatever
lot in that episode.
cyberpunk, whatever
Yeah,
cyberpunk
whatever
drama
fucking
happens
drama
next week.
happens then. I'm sure someone will get fucking acquired just because January has been nuts for news. So,
Something will happen. There's always going to be
yeah,
news.
some delays probably. So yeah,
Unfortunately.
thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in the next one.
Later, everyone.